since I joined Fox and started coming up, they would take anything and everything I said completely out of context, try to spin it into a controversy, and then try to get me fired. I mean, over and over and over and over my entire career. And then including to when I went to NBC, they pushed and pushed and pushed anything that I said that they could make into controversial all over the internet. Their sole goal is to get conservatives fired, to get anybody right of center fired, ruined, canceled. That's what they exist for. I cannot believe that these companies, these big blue chip companies, are jumping when Media Matters says jump. Are they so clueless they don't understand that this is a hack organization, that you can't trust anything this group does? So we'll talk about what they're actually doing. Emily, let me start with you on it. What they appear to have done is they went on Twitter. This is according to Elon and Twitter, X, same group. They say that what happened, Media Matters came out and said a bunch of these blue chip brand advertisements are appearing next to anti-Semitic content on X. So you could be scrolling along innocently looking for Thanksgiving table ideas. What's the best cranberry sauce? And you could see an IBM ad. Or you could be searching up how much I hate the Jews and who else feels as I do. And then boom, there's the IBM ad. And they went to IBM and they went to all these other blue chip companies and said, your content is appearing next to all the Jew hatred. So of course they were like, oh, I don't want that. That wasn't part of the deal. And now they're pulling their ads from Twitter, all of them, en masse. And Twitter was already hurting with advertisers since Elon took over. So this actually could be a bet your business situation for him. But why is it that we do not believe the Media Matters alleged discoveries, Emily, are to be trusted?
Yeah, I mean, Media Matters, as you said, Megyn, is essentially a leftist advocacy group that exists to ask, to beg, to demand that corporate America and corporate executives police the boundaries of the free press. That is their entire existence, which should, of course, in theory, be something the left is bitterly hostile to. This idea that corporations should pressure journalists to monitor the boundaries of their speech, and to do it, by the way, in a obviously ideologically leftist direction. People don't think about Media Matters that way. In fact, Ben Collins, who is the disinformation reporter at NBC, referred to, quote, Media Matters researchers today, which if you're a disinformation reporter, Ben Collins loves to actually spread disinformation as the disinformation reporter. It's actually kind of a great title for him, ironically, but you should probably not be referring to them just plainly as researchers, because they're advocacy activists, essentially. That's what they are. And Elon Musk, in his statement that he posted to X, said he has reason to believe that they were rigging the algorithm to get these reports. And he specifically mentioned, as you said, Megyn, fraud. And then Stephen Miller, formerly worked for President Trump, responded to Elon Musk in a tweet saying fraud is both a civil and a criminal offense. The Attorney General of Missouri said that his team was looking into this on behalf of Musk, because if Media Matters, I don't know, Megyn, you would know this better. I don't know what potential legal action could be on the table or legal vulnerabilities Media Matters would have in here. I think that would be a really difficult case to make, but they are representing, illegally or otherwise, but they are representing advocacy as research. And what's worse than an advocacy group doing that is the media laundering it as though it's some sort of neutral piece of research rather than a completely rigged. And I don't doubt Elon Musk's accusations here that they, created a couple puppet accounts and intentionally started following, the people who would be spreading or the topics where you were more likely to find this kind of information, and then presented it as though, this was representative of the average Twitter user, the average X user's experience, when in fact...
Wait, let me just stop you there, because that's important. That's important. Yeah. So that would be like, if I wanted to bring down Elon Musk, I'd go on Twitter under the name, Madge Kerwin. And I would just start following all these anti-Semitic accounts. And there are some, for sure. I mean, Twitter is a place for free speech like America, and you're going to get nasty takes. And unlike the previous regime, Elon doesn't ban them all. The most extreme cases he will, the threats of violence and so on, but he doesn't ban them all. So in any event, like anybody knows, your user experience is like curated by you. The algorithm learns what you like, what kind of content you like, and then starts serving it back to you. So you're saying Madge Kerwin would quickly be identified by the X algorithm as like somebody who really likes the anti-Semitic stuff. And then if Madge stays on long enough, the ads are going to pop up from the blue chip advertisers who have bought mass space on X. But they're not popping up to Megyn Kelly, to Emily, to Eliana, because we're not running after that. Only if you're somebody who's seeking out the content is that stuff going to be served up to you.
Right. Right. Yeah, exactly. And so that's Elon Musk's accusation that this report is based on accounts that were intentionally created to rig the algorithm to deliver these results. And so it might not be that the report is wrong. You know, I'm sure they were able to create accounts that this content was served up on, and then they go and present it to Microsoft and Apple and whomever else. And, you know, they're very media savvy. Media Matters, to your point, has been doing this for years. They absolutely know the pressure points of corporate advertisers. But, you know, whether this is legitimate research, I think is highly dubious. And I look forward to Elon Musk uncovering what Media Matters was up to here, because I think the more transparency there is in this advocacy that's allowed to be laundered into the press as some sort of like neutral academic research is absurd.
So this is what an executive at X previously told Fox Business, Eliana, about the way they do advertising, you know, the way they, I guess, ferret out the ads purchased by advertisers on Twitter. Ads follow people on X. They follow the people. So they figure out, again, what you like, and then they'll pop up on your feed. In this case, the Media Matters research that was going to actively look for this content. That's how user targeting works. As it relates to the platform itself, control settings are in place for every user and every brand so that you can try to minimize this kind of content if you want to. The executive claimed groups like Media Matters aggressively search for posts on X and then go to the accounts. And if they see an ad, they keep hitting refresh to capture as many brands as possible. So you can make it look like, oh, gee, you know, they just link these anti-Semitic posts with IBM or whatever the brand is all over Twitter. You know, so I'm just innocently scrolling and boom, something terrible about Jews, and IBM sponsored it. Whereas in fact, the only way you're going to get this is basically if you did what Media Matters did.
Right. This reminds me a little bit, and we've had this happen a few times. You know, if you run a publication, people email you about the ads that appear on your site. And if you have a Google ad function, the ads that are served to a user are based on their Google searches. And so, you know, you'll get emails from people who say, you're advertising pornographic images or a penis pump or this or that. And you kind of want to reply and say, that's because you're Google searching, you know, this, that, the other. Like these things are, they are of course based on your own. And this isn't the exact parallel, but it is sort of like that. It is of course based on what you're generating back to yourself. It's a mirror image type of thing. But I have to say, like, I right now, I do think this is a little bit of a red herring, because for me, this is like sort of like Elon Musk, Media Matters, a little bit like the Iran-Iraq war, and I'm probably the odd man out in this conversation of the other EJ and MK. I do think Elon Musk himself, and this is separate and apart from the ads that Twitter is serving up to users, has been pushing anti-Semitic tropes through his account on Twitter. He just did it a few days ago. And at this time in this country, and I think he is rightfully taking heat for this, he denies this. But, you know, for those of us who are Jewish, like we know what this stuff means. We can see it. And so when I look at this, I just see like, it's hard for me to take a side in this. Like, I don't feel sorry for him. I don't like Media Matters. And you know, I don't know what to say here, but it is concerning to me that the wealthiest man in the world with so much power, who owns an entire social media platform, is using it in such an irresponsible manner. And I'm talking about his own personal account, not
his
the
tweets.
ads.
Okay, his posts. I guess we call it that.
Let's
talk about that. Let's talk about that, because I confess I have not been following, you know, Elon's postings bit by bit, but the one that he was really getting hit for, I saw why it was controversial, and then I understood his clarification. So you tell me if it goes beyond this. The one that's being blown up right now, because it hit on the same day as the Media Matters hit piece, was some account I don't know tweeted out. Okay, they said they were. This is my take on it. I believe that this person was trying to say they had no empathy for liberal Jews who didn't fight the woke battles and didn't care about the open border until now. He was kind of like, I think that's my interpretation. He was kind of saying, you know what, spare me your tears because you helped create the mess we have in America. And I really don't feel that sorry for you now that you're saying, oh my God, the college students and all this stuff. But that's my own take. I'll read you what he wrote. He said, Jewish communities, this is not Elon, this is somebody that Elon agreed with. Jewish communities have been pushing the exact kind of dialectical hatred against whites that they claim to want people to stop using against them. I'm deeply disinterested in giving the tiniest shit now about Western Jewish populations coming to the disturbing realization that those hordes of minorities that support flooding their country don't exactly like them too much. You want the truth said to your face, there it is. Now that's not a good tweet. No one's going to defend the way this was written or said. I get your point, Eliana. But I'm trying to read this, as generously as I can because I think I'm trying to look at what Elon saw. And Elon replied, you have said the actual truth. And then he clarified that he was referring to the Anti-Defamation League, Elon was, the ADL, saying that they unjustly attacked the majority of the West, despite the majority of the West supporting the Jewish people in Israel. It's not right. It needs to stop. And so Elon's clarification is basically to my point, like, yes, there's this group that says it's pro-Jewish, but it's constantly criticizing whites. That's not wrong. It's constantly advocating for things like open borders. So it could be a CYA, right? Is that your feeling? He's covering his ass there, and he meant it more broadly, like the Jews are in control and they hate white people, or it could be legit. What do you think?
My personal view is that all I can see in front of me is the tweet that you read and his response, which is, you have said the actual truth. And it is totally unacceptable. And the Washington Free Beacon has editorialized against the tactics of the Anti-Defamation League. I share his criticisms of them. That said, I can say easily, we, of course, share their goal. We seek the same things. We disagree with them on what is the best way to get there.
It's finally here. The CBDistillery.com Black Friday sale. It's on, and it's incredible. Right now, you can get up to 40% off everything when you use the code BF2023. BF2023. Choose from a range of expert-formulated CBD and other plant-based solutions for relaxation, stress, sleep, pain after physical activity, even mood and focus. Imagine that, a calm mind and deep sleep throughout the whole night. Sounds amazing, right? No artificial colors, flavors, preservatives, or sweeteners, just 100% clean ingredients. Don't miss this massive sale and get up to 40% off your order. Visit cbdistillery.com and enter the code BF2023. What does BF stand for? Best friend? I could think of some other things. I'm just skipping them in my head. cbdistillery.com. Enter BF2023. cbdistillery.com. Not available in Idaho, Iowa, and South Dakota. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.